Right now, we're getting into how these new primaries this week are advancing what looks like a takeover of the GOP by conspiracy theorists and January 6th rally attendees.
I decided to raise as much money as I could within a 3-day period to take as many people to D.C. as I could.
I'm the only candidate in this race that the president has admiration for.
Radical groups like Antifa and BLM were funding riots and fueling fires to burn down our cities, while left-wing liberals paid their bail.
I think the election was stolen personally.
And I'm willing to do whatever it takes to return this country back to its former glory. And if I got to kick down doors, well, that's just what patriots do.
You can decide for yourself who's a patriot, but you're not just looking at a random activist. You are now looking and listening to a nominee for the Republican Party, an admitted January 6th rally attendee who just won the primary to be the Republican nominee for a key House seat in Ohio. He's also expressed sympathy and support for the radical QAnon conspiracy theory, which features belief systems that there's some sort of Satan-worshiping Illuminati running parts of the government or the country or the progressive wing of the United States. His name is J.R. Majewski. You can see him on election night just this week celebrating the primary win. He's also been seen wearing a shirt that brandishes a QAnon symbol as well as Donald Trump. He's been on Fox News, again, deliberately sporting a QAnon shirt, seen here. This is in front of a giant sign near his yard. At least 36 QAnon supporters are running for Congress right now. Majewski has, I should note, at times said that he denies supporting QAnon. There may be political reasons for that. I showed you the T-shirts, and now we'll show you the receipts.
The special guest, J.R. Majewski. We're going to have some candid conversation around the drops that came in earlier.
It's very mind-opening, and it broadened my horizons substantially. Just getting involved in the movement, getting involved with what everybody's doing, and just seeing, how deep it goes. It's breathtaking, to be honest with you.
The internet is a record, so we have that record. Now, this individual faces off with a Democrat, Marcy Kaptur. She's the longest-serving woman, actually, in the history of the House. And it's a district that was once more Democratic. Experts see it as a toss-up, partly due to gerrymandering, which, to be clear, both parties have done gerrymandering, but this is a particularly strong Republican version that makes it a close race or a close competition based on just the voter registration. Majewski was at that Stop the Steal rally. I should note that you see him here, a big supporter of Donald Trump. He has said publicly that he did not enter or breach the Capitol. He has, however, raised money to bring Trump supporters to the Capitol. He has endorsed, as seen there, aspects of QAnon, and he is the new face in Ohio of the Republican Party, which brings us to someone who used to run the RNC, who supported Joe Biden in the last election, Michael Steele. Welcome back. I have to remind people that's not just an activist or something. That's the nominee.
Yeah, no, it is where the party is right now. And then there are a whole bunch of those who were endorsed by Trump in Ohio alone, let alone what we're going to see roll out over the course of the spring and summer into August in these primaries, which is why Mitch McConnell and a number of leaders in Washington are very worried about what was once a really well-paved yellow brick road to winning in November, now pockmarked by candidates like Majewski and certainly now the Supreme Court narrative, which will transform the playing field even further. Because folks need to keep in mind what Republicans also have looking over their shoulders, not just abortion, but the affirmative action rulings by the Supreme Court, along with a few others. So in terms of having that space carved out to run right through November, candidates like the one you just showed are really problematic. And Trump, meanwhile, keeps endorsing more of them. So the party will find itself running, unless it's a heavily gerrymandered district that will almost certainly guarantee the win, those seats now that they need for pickups become more problematic when you're running up against a QAnon candidate, and the party has to figure out, do you lean into that or run away from it?
Yeah, and it's interesting because I've seen it set up by some on the right that it's opponents of the GOP that are obsessed with January 6th, not the party. And yet the fact that January 6th is becoming a kind of litmus test for how much do you embrace the big lie. The big lie revolves around what happened that day, the alternate or lying version of events. And that is against what, at least at the time, McConnell and McCarthy saw. You could say they were naive. You could say they're hypocrites for changing. But it's notable that after everything we went through in the Trump era, on the night of the 6th, they looked out at the criminal insurrectionists and saw a problem, not a voting bloc. Take a look.
The president bears responsibility for Wednesday's attack on Congress by mob rioters. He should have immediately denounced the mob when he saw what was unfolding.
There's no question, none, that President Trump is practically and morally responsible for provoking the events of the day.
Michael?
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. They saw a problem and not a voting bloc. But then subsequent leaders, weeks later, they've tried to leverage that problem into a voting bloc. They tried to leverage that problem, that voting bloc, away from the problem. So in other words, you're looking there and you're seeing this reality. Oh, my God, look what this man has done. And you heard the plaintiff cry to, stop it. And to condemn it. But then the politics kicks in and it becomes, all right, there's not much more we can do about that. How do we save the win? And the way you save the win is recognize you can't afford to have any of that Trump base peel off in close races, right? And you can't have any of that Trump base turn against your incumbents in races where you need them. And only they alone can hold those seats. So that's where the politics, a party corrupted by the politics makes those kind of calculations in the face of an insurrection, and leads us to where we see McConnell quietly, sheepishly ignoring certain things, and McCarthy just outright backflipping in the opposite direction.